Welcome, everyone, to another installment of Exhuming the X-Files here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. My name is Matthew. I am joined once again on our trek through a decidedly mid thus far, Season 4, Jeremy.
Yeah. I'm right here. I'm here for it.
Now we're on episode 11 of Season 4. This is the obligatory X-Files makes a problematic episode about people of color. Seems like there's one in every single season. So we checked out El Mundo Gira. I'll give you one guess as to who a guy named John Shaban wrote this episode, Jeremy. Can you tell me what X-Files episode that you think that this guy would have written in the past that we watched?
Was it that Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD episode?
No, it was Teso dos Bichos. So I don't know what John Shaban has I don't know how he keeps dipping into this well, but he's dipped into it once again. Directed by Tucker Gates. Did you have any recollection of this
No,
episode?
no, I didn't remember a single fucking thing about
No,
this.
I feel like I had to have seen this, but yeah, I don't remember anything about this. So it's new to both of us. Take us through it. How do we kick this banger of an episode off?
We start the episode, it's after dark, you're in these rundown shacks, and a bunch of Latinas are shouting at each other in Spanish, but they're suddenly interrupted by a woman speaking in English. Doesn't make any fucking sense right off the bat. She says that she
Yeah.
saw something and you could just explain it away as a fairy tale, but she saw it herself and she starts telling the story. And it's about like a truck pulls up into this little ramshackle camp of Mexican immigrants that are apparently living somewhere in SoCal in a bunch of, lean-tos. And this is presented like at first I'm like, is this like, the 40s, 50s? No, this is modern day. This is like the other day.
Yeah.
And so all these dudes hop up into this guy's truck because they're gonna go to work. And one guy turns around and he sees Tuco fucking Salamanca. Probably doesn't mean anything to you because I don't think you've watched Breaking Bad yet. Hitting on his
Nope.
girlfriend. And it's like he recognizes, or it's his brother, and they apparently have both been after this girl for a while. And he just doesn't get out of the truck and go fight his brother. He just like, well, I mean, I gotta work, so somebody says something about the old lady that's telling the story says something about two brothers, one girl, trouble,
Yeah.
and then
Trouble.
both the girl and Tuco Salamanca disappear over this hill. And then we see this big explosion, and there's suddenly this rain of piss everywhere.
We see a couple goats walk out first. I was
Oh,
like, did they just turn into goats? But we find out like the goats will come into play a little bit in this episode.
yeah. Do they really though?
Well, I
They're
mean,
there.
ostensibly it's for like the chupacabra, right? So goat sucker. I I don't know. Spoiler alert: this episode sucks. It's so bad. God.
um, they it's raining fucking this yellow water that's pooling up everywhere. It looks really, really gross. And then they go over to the hill to where the explosion had originally happened, and they see there's a dead goat laying there whose face is melted off, and the poor girl Maria, who's laying there and looks like she was attacked with acid, some sort of
Yeah.
corrosive green acid. Her face is melted off, her eyelids, her mouth, her lips, and Tuco is nowhere to be found. I wrote here that Maria must have gotten exploded by a toxic goat, and then we get the title screen.
What do you think of this opening? Did it make you interested to watch this episode?
It was kind of it started with the gross pea water, and then I think did they use the word chupacabra before the title screen?
Uh, I can't remember if it was before. I know it was very early on in this episode because it's
Yeah,
the old lady that believes it's the chupacabra that is doing this to everybody.
and I don't. I mean, the chupacabra has never been a terribly compelling mystery as far as monsters out there. It's no Bigfoot. It's no fucking Loch Ness
It's
monster.
no titty squatch, let me tell you.
It's no no titties. Yeah, it's not the fluke man. No, it's a thing, but it's never been like there's never been like a lot of stuff about the chupacabra. A lot of talk about it, but there's never been any pictures or anything like that. So, you know, just
Yeah.
not interesting subject matter, at least to me.
I wasn't interested in this opening at all. I was just like, this felt very drama heavy from the beginning. With even with the two brothers and stuff, I'm like, oh my god, is this going to be like them just fighting this entire episode? And we kind of get that. That's kind of what it turns out to be a little bit. But I was just kind of like, it just felt low rent. This opening thing. I was like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? How is Mulder going to get involved in this?
But certainly he does.
Yeah.
Because suddenly they're standing out in this field next to this dead goat who just got left out in this field. Um, Mulder says something about Tres Diaz, and I think that's the last time he tries to speak Spanish in this whole episode.
I wanted it to
3
say no ho on the roho, but he didn't.
He says that hot yellow rain fell from the sky, and then he uses that as an excuse to be like, there's all of a sudden all of these other colored rains that normally happen around a meteorological event. And then what is her face? Scully's like, purple rain? And he's like, great album. Deeply flawed movie though. I've never seen the movie Purple Rain, so I don't understand the
Wow.
joke.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the joke. It's definitely a very flawed movie. If you want to see Prince as a woman beater, then Purple Rain's probably the movie to watch.
Right up my alley. All right.
Well, I didn't say it was up your alley.
Jeez, dude. All right.
Holy cow! You need to stop being so defensive.
What? Who are you talking to? It's just me and you here, bud.
We got
All
all
right,
14 listeners out there, Jeremy. We're all together here.
So they walk back over the hill, and all of a sudden, like the local population in this ramshackle hut town just starts shouting "La Migra, La Migra," which I'm sure you hear all the time nowadays, Matthew. And how how they just now getting alerted because they're literally just like over a ridge that is right next to this little shanty town.
Yeah.
But everybody runs away except for the old woman who's telling the story. She blames a chupacabra. The brother is there. He blames the brother and says the sky piss was a trick. Like, how? How was it a trick? Scully immediately explains away the hot sky piss as a Mexican soap opera in the making, which started the slow roll into how really racist this and uncomfortable this show gets really, really quickly. Mulder immediately sets Scully to work on the body while Mulder goes to find the brother. He meets up with this Mexican police guy, or what was the dude that was acting super poorly right next to Mulder this whole episode?
Oh, that is what's his name? Ruben Blades, I think, is the name of the actor. He's at one of my favorite movies, and I will die on this hill. Predator 2 is better than the original Predator movie, and Ruben Blades plays one of the cops there in that movie. That's the only thing I know him from is Predator 2. I don't think I've ever seen another movie with him in it, but he's awful in this episode.
Yeah,
He's terrible.
I think he's so bad that they ended up, or I have a theory about, you notice Gabrielle at the end of the show, kind of. She's really, or the cousin of both of the brothers. She just kind of shows up for no reason to kind of be an out. But a lot of the dialogue that you would expect out of this agent dude is actually delivered by her.
Hmm.
And it's like I think they just looked at all the cuts of this guy's awful acting and then just cut him out of it and inserted some other chick that can act in order to take over his spot.
Yeah, he's real bad. He comes
Um,
off so overly like dramatic, and so does the main dude, the guy who's well, I'm not gonna barely lead who's got the fungus thing going. He just over dramatically acts every scene that he is in, and it just feels like what am I watching here? And I think in one of the fun facts about this episode is like they intentionally tried to make this like a how Scully mentions kind of like a telenovela sort of Telemundo soap opera type thing, and it was just very weird. Like it just doesn't work in this episode at all.
it I didn't even I guess I've never watched any of these soaps before. I it was grating how bad
Yeah.
everything in this episode was. Um God, where do I start again? He goes and finds the dude. Scully finds Maria's body, and it's inside of a body bag. It's covered in some sort of mold and looks really, really gross. She ends up finding out that it's just like athlete's foot on steroids, essentially, is what. And that is so nasty as a premise. And what you find out is Tuco Salamanca is running around with it. He's like a carrier. He's like patient
Yeah.
zero. He's not affected by it, but basically, but he is sweating piss, and everybody he comes into contact with basically gets infected and dies within minutes. It feels like
Yeah.
of just being overwhelmed by foot fungus,
Yeah.
scabby foot fungus. God, I'm just skipping over shit.
Well, I mean,
Um,
there's not a whole lot to say about this episode, honestly.
not really. Like Mulder jumps to some conclusion at some point that it's basically like a meteor passed over the earth. Basically, if Maximum Overdrive was foot fungus instead of cool ass trucks being taken over.
I like that. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
But he just jumps to that fucking conclusion. Like he was at ground zero with the goat. Did he see a meteorite impact anywhere? No. No, he was just sitting there eating and spitting seeds all over a fucking crime scene.
What is there's a moment in this episode. See, I just watched this episode today and I've already forgotten most of it. That's how like crappy this episode was. But what's the whole thing? Is it the old lady that sees like the aliens? Like they try to pigeonhole
Oh, at the
aliens
end, yeah,
grays into this?
at the
Okay, that's at
end
the end.
because both of the okay, so they're basically running all over Los Angeles away from the police. People throughout the episode are getting caught up in just meeting Tuco Salamanca for a minute, getting infected and dying. But
Yeah.
eventually, the brother catches up to Tuco at the shanty town when Tuco is just like fully he starts to get rapidly worse. He remains normal but sweaty. And I thought he was just gonna stay sweaty, but then he starts getting scabs on his face, and ultimately, like he gets this bulging, weird, kind of almost like alien gray head, only he has
Yeah.
purple skin instead of gray skin. His brother chases him over a hill, and there's this whole like fake ass story that this old woman makes up about how the Mexican agent guy, got shot, but really it was a struggle for a gun. Both of the brothers ran off with each other because he couldn't bring himself to kill his brother. Oh no.
Yeah.
She sees aliens come over the hill, and not even that could save this episode. Once I saw it, I'm like, no, no, this isn't real. This can't be real. But really, it was like agents that were in hazmat suits and stuff because they basically re-show or retell the entire scene through somebody who isn't full of shit's eyes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they just let the guys go. They are causing the sort of sickness epidemic that is killing people within minutes of meeting them. There's two brothers that are just running around. They don't even get to Mexico. They're just like hitchhiking, I believe, at the end of the episode. And Skinner just kind of like, all right.
Well, yeah, that's what's really interesting about it because early on in the episode, Scully's like super freaked out. She's like, Mulder, if this guy makes it to, a heavily populated area, it's going to be real, real bad. And then they don't resolve that at the end. They just kind of let him go. And then I don't know, did Mitch Pileggi have like an obligation to be in an X amount of episodes this season and they throw him in for 30 seconds at the very end of this episode? It just felt the whole episode felt weird. Like it just didn't work. None of it worked.
I couldn't. I mean, I made sense of everything they tried to convey. It's just it doesn't seem like anybody that was involved really cared about this episode, except for Gabrielle, the cousin that they meet, that I believe was there to replace the acting lines of this awful Mexican agent guy. Like she was trying to get a job somewhere else through just being there, but even that didn't make it work out. That's just. I'm glad to put this one behind me.
Yeah. Well, we watched 4 episodes today. This is the first one, and I'm just as I was watching this, I'm like, man, I do not remember season 4 sucking this bad. I mean, I was like, we've seen some bad episodes this season so far. This has got to be the worst so far, right? Like, there's
I'd have to
nothing
flip
of
through my
value.
notes, but
I don't feel like there's anything of value.
there's been some fucking turds this season, and yeah.
Holy cow. Okay, well, I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about with this episode, folks, but I will go through and read some fun facts I was able to pull off the interwebs. El Mundo Gira was inspired by writer John Chabon's memory of the, quote, long lines of migrant workers in the strawberry fields alongside the freeway, unquote, in greater Los Angeles. When Chabon started to work on his script, he combined these memories with an idea about a highly dangerous fungal infection, along with elements of the chupacabra, Latin American folk myth, which he had originally heard about in an article in the Los Angeles Times sometime prior. And we should point out that this is very similar to that first the Titty Squatch episode of the Jersey Devil, right, in season 1, where you think it's going to be about that kind of like cryptid, but it turns out no. It's like they just kind of throw you for a loop a little bit. They mention the chupacabra in this. There's a couple, I guess, jokes, if you want to call them that, between Mulder and Scully about like the chupacabra, but they really do nothing with that whole thing. Like they did not need to put the chupacabra in this at all. It could have just been an episode about killer athlete's foot. I mean,
And then just really leaned hard into how gross that is. Yeah, I would have accepted that. Sure.
Yeah. As Chabon's story was coming together, series creator Chris Carter noted its telenovela soap opera-like nature, and so it was decided to title the episode El Mundo Gira, which means the world turns in Spanish, and is a direct reference to the popular American television soap opera As the World Turns. And that dude, I guess the guy who's carrying the athlete's foot, every time he shows up to anything, he is so over the top with his emotions. Like when he shows up to his cousin's house, whatever, he's like, "You gotta help me!" Oh my god! It's just I was like, it's just so cringeworthy. The acting here, so cringeworthy. Lozano, who was portrayed by Panamanian singer, actor, and ad hoc politician Ruben Blades, whom Chris Carter had long been wanting to feature in an episode. Coincidentally, Raymond Cruz and Simi Mehta, the actors who portrayed Eladio and Gabrielle, were in a romantic relationship at the time of filming, and later were married. So that's interesting. I guess you're playing my cousin. Now we're going to get married. When developing the script for El Mundo Gira, Chabon spent several days at an Immigration and Naturalization Service processing center in San Pedro, California, where he observed how the immigrants acted and were treated. Chabon noticed that many of the immigrants refused to give the INS agents their real names, which was reflected in the eventual episode. The show's set designers scouted out a barren stretch of land near Boundary Bay Airport, Vancouver, and erected a faux migrant camp for use in the episode. After the set was torn down, the area was later used during the filming of the episode A Tempest Fugit. Filming was temporarily set back when it snowed at the campsite that day before production and was set to commence, requiring the show's crew to use, among other things, hot water and hair dryers to clean the area. And that's what I've got for fun facts about this shitty episode. This is, I mean, I don't know what to say. This was bad. This was bad. Was there anything good in this episode that you were like, I actually really enjoyed this, aside from the actress who played Gabrielle?
You remember that poor grocery bagger guy that picked up that single cashew nut, and then they saw him later just completely covered in mold head to toe?
Yeah.
I thought that looked good.
Some of the actual effects work of the athlete's foot covering people's bodies, it looked okay.
Yeah,
I'll give it that.
yeah. Got it.
But yeah,
The chupacabra itself, when he was fully, both him and his brother were fully morphed, looked like shit.
oh, they look terrible. Yeah, it looked. I mean, I laughed out loud when I saw that dude with his like big purple head and crying out in like sadness at what he looks like. I was just like, this isn't real. Like I'm actually not watching this right now. This is bizarre to me. But yeah, folks, that's it. The very short episode because there's nothing to talk about with this. Did we miss something? Is this a good episode? Leave a comment down below. But man, what are we watching next week? Leonard Betts. Ah, yes, Leonard Betts. So stay tuned next Friday. Hit that like and subscribe because we're going to get back to the sweating and the sucking and all that good stuff that we know and love from our Monster of the Week episodes with Leonard Betts. Until next week. We'll see you then.
The sucking.